Been exactly 1 week on the job for President Joe Biden, from dealing with the pandemic to signing a flurry of executive orders. The president has been making his mark indeed.
So how is he doing? Weighing in on week one of the Biden administration, we have political analyst Dowdell and political strategist Chapin. Good morning to both of you and welcome back.
Good morning.
Good morning. So let's get to it this morning. Let's begin with on top of everybody's mind, which of course is the vaccine. President Biden took action to boost vaccine distribution, including sending out an increased number of doses immediately. Hopefully that can help with some of these delays. He also ordered an additional 200 million vaccine doses, saying that nearly 300 million people could be vaccinated by the end of the summer. Tara, let's begin with you and your thoughts on the actions to ramp up the vaccine distribution given the slow rollout.
Well, this is clearly the most important issue facing our country right now, because the impact of the COVID-19 public health emergency is exacerbating all kinds of other issues, our economic issues. It's creating so much economic fallout for small businesses, for families, for people who are already struggling, the working poor. And so this is really important. And I want to flag a couple of other things that I think are going to really help in terms of the response. And this is why leadership is so important. He also has ordered federal agencies to work with the governors of every state, and it will be funded by the federal government, funded by FEMA, to deploy the National Guard to help with vaccine distribution. What we've seen in states across the country is many states, despite what we're hearing, are actually overwhelmed. Their senior citizens, 80 years old, 85 years old, in states standing in line overnight trying to get the vaccine. This is unacceptable. So governors need to, and I hope the Republican governors, some have declined this help despite the issues. I hope all of the governors accept this assistance, because we have to put the people of this country first. And what we're seeing is Joe Biden coming out, President Biden coming out really swinging on a slew of these issues, but first and foremost, COVID-19.
Indeed, he has. Chapin, before I get your answer to this, let's hear from the administration.
We will both increase the supply in the short term by more than 15% and give our states and local partners more certainty about when the deliveries will arrive.
Okay, so we're getting a little more direction from the president himself. Chapin, how do you think this administration is really going to deal with the pandemic? Are they on the right footing here?
I mean, I think it's still a little TBD to see, how he is able to execute his plans. But, I agree with Tara. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the most important thing we have facing us as a country. Here in New York, people's vaccination appointments are being canceled left and right because we have a shortage of doses. I think a federal, National Guard mobilization makes some Republicans a little nervous to have, it be a top-down thing. It's very clear we need more doses into counties and municipal levels so that they can administer it, at the facilities on the ground. So we'll see. His 100 million doses in his first 100 days is only going to get 15% of the country vaccinated. So we have to ramp up very, very quickly. It looks like he's doing that. So, I'm hopeful that it will be a good rollout. But, by April, we will see how much progress has been made.
Yeah. And they're saying that also there's some ground to cover in terms of trying to figure out how many doses were even sent out because they weren't given that information. And also on the pandemic, I want to get both of your reactions to this. And Chapin, we'll start with you. This national mask mandate and now this issue of wearing double masks and seeing Dr. Fauci and others now having 3 times a week briefings. Is all of this something that you like to see in terms of seeing Dr. Fauci once again out there in the open?
Well, I certainly like to see people talking about, the science and the facts and how we address this. I think, over the last couple of years, we've seen, I think, a little tend to go down a silly hole. I'm not sure, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know if 3 masks is really the answer or not, but I can tell you that I don't think people are going to be wearing 3 masks. So I'm not really sure about that.
It's 2 masks.
Either way, I personally am a person who will wear a mask. If wearing a mask means I get to go back to life as normal, I will 100% wear a mask if that's what it takes. So, I have no problem with the mask mandate. You did see that, on his first day, a couple hours after he signed it, he wasn't wearing one. So I do think they have to get their act together on that. But I have no problem with a mandate on federal property. I mean, that it seems like that's a decent first step. And like, let's get back to normal, right? I mean, if that's what it takes, a mask is really a low threshold for me to.
All right, well,
do.
let's talk about all the different actions he's taken on his first day in office, in fact. Let's just deal with that alone. President Biden issued 17 executive orders. Among them, he ended the Muslim and African travel bans. He stopped construction on the Mexican border wall. He reinforced DACA. He rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement. He stopped their withdrawal from the World Health Organization, even canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, extending eviction moratoriums. That's on the first day. Since then, though, we've got a record 37 executive actions and counting just in the first week. I want to get to you, Tara. This president has come in swinging.
Yeah, I mean, the problems that our nation are facing are huge. And so some of the other executive orders we see on the news, we see on this network, we see people lining up in food lines, families, people who've lost their jobs through no fault of their own, who've been essentially thrown into poverty through no fault of their own, who are already teetering on the brink. And so he's also increased food assistance programs to help those families that are struggling. People in this country should be able to eat. And so that's another thing, especially children. There are also federal student loans. Student loans have been a big issue for a very long time. So there is a pause on federal student loan payments. We can't expect at a time when 400,000 Americans are dead, when unemployment rates are at record numbers, particularly for women. Women have been decimated, something that's not getting enough attention. Women have been decimated, and Black and Latina women in particular, and also Asian American women are really facing the brunt of this employment crisis that's the result of the pandemic and this public health emergency. And women are the heads of households. They're the caretakers of of the children as well as aging parents. And so we really have to have the president has to come out swinging, because there's so many big issues and he has to tackle them aggressively and proactively. And I think that a lot of people don't realize just how much a president can do just by ordering the various departments that he controls, the various cabinet members, to take action on these issues. And this is leadership, and people don't realize it because we didn't see it before.
Guys, we're almost out of time here, and I want to give you both a chance to respond to this, because we saw the insurrection at the Capitol, President Biden taking over at a time where the country is bitterly divided. There are a lot of racial undertones at play here. 30 seconds for both of you. What do you see as the unification process? Tara, will begin with you.
Well, I don't think we're going to unify everyone in this country, and the notion that we are, I think, is unrealistic. But I think the president should focus on doing the right thing and doing good things for people. COVID response. If the president focuses on helping people, then that by definition is unity, because getting the COVID pandemic under control and our economy back on track helps everybody.
Chapin?
You know, I agree. I mean, people are suffering from multiple crises in this country, some of them short-term, some of them long-term. I agree that I don't think unity is coming, but certainly the impeachment trial seems to, keep President Trump around a little bit longer, and it's going to just distract from all the important work that the new administration has to do. So I think it's a huge distraction. I think it's a huge mistake for both parties to have an impeachment process in the first couple of weeks of the new president's administration.
All right, I see Tara shaking her head. We'll debate on that next time we see you both. Thank you both for joining us today. We do appreciate your time and your insight.
Have a good day.
All right.